The Oneida community was the longest lasting of the 19th century utopian communities, and they originally started in Putney, Vermont, but came here in 1848, and in 1862 they built the mansion house in stages. The last part of it was built in 1914 by Oneida Community Limited, which was the business that developed as an outgrowth of the Oneida community. They were a religiously based community. They called themselves perfectionists or Bible communists, and they believed in sharing everything. They shared their personal property, they shared their work, they shared the raising of the children, and they shared their relationships. They believed that the worst thing that you could be was selfish. This building is a National Historic Landmark, and at its height, over 300 people lived in the house. Today, it contains a museum. We have guided tours Wednesday through Saturday at 10 and 2, and Sunday at 2 o'clock. We also have 30 residential apartments, so it operates as an apartment building. We have 8 guest rooms, so you can spend the night here, which is very unusual to be able to sleep overnight in a museum. We have coffee makers and wireless internet, and most of them have refrigerators. They have these amazing high ceilings and huge windows. So lots and lots of light, and then also fabulous views of the lawns and gardens. The big hall was really the center of community life and very much the center of mansion house life today too. We do all of our special events there and our adult enrichment series in the fall and the spring. Other organizations in the community use it for concerts and plays. It's obviously the most popular place for people to get married. It's just the perfect location.
My name is Cindy Georgi, and I'm a part-time resident here in the Mansion House, and I am a descendant of the community. And my husband and I were married in this very spot, in this wonderful room, in June of 1954. Especially poignant and sentimental for us because my parents were married here in 1925, and before them, my grandparents were married in the Mansion House with their reception here in the big hall in 1900.
So many people rent the facility to have their anniversary parties or their weddings and their wedding receptions, birthday parties. We are absolutely thrilled to have Zabrozo Restaurant here because it's such an unusual restaurant, not only for the area, but also for the Mansion House.
I want to have somebody to come in, independent of the Mansion House, somebody to come in and open the restaurant and give it life again. And more than 3 years later, we're still here.
He specializes in Spanish and Latin American inspired cuisine, and people come from all over to have dinner. He is actually located in what was the original Oneida Community dining rooms. He has changed the look of it substantially from what it looked like prior to his coming here to reflect his cuisine, but it is still the same space, and you can walk around there and actually see some things that have been in the dining room from the 1800s.
It will seek us out because of the historic nature of the property. You know how beautiful it is. The gardens are incredible in the spring and the summer and even into the fall. But those big events like weddings or even rehearsal dinners, I mean, people like the idea of having the rehearsal dinners and in a place where they can not only have dinner in the restaurant, but go outside and have maybe a cocktail hour before the dinner or walk around the property and see, you know, the gardens and the other rooms.
We have several permanent and changing exhibits at the Mansion House. For example, when you first come in the door, there's an orientation exhibit which gives you the entire history of the Oneida community and is the perfect place to start before you go on a tour of the building. There's also a permanent exhibit of braidings that were done by one of the women born in the Oneida community by the name of Jessie Catherine Kinsley. A room that we call our history room. That allows us to put some of our collections out, for example, their traps, their canning and preserving business, their silk thread business. And then we have changing exhibits. One is a photography exhibit, which is in a space completely dedicated to our photography collection. It has over 12,000 photographs in it. If you've been here, say, 10 years ago and you think, oh, I don't really need to go back because I've seen everything, there's always a reason to come back and visit.